What up, y'all? I know not everyone feels like listening to a 40+ minute poll plans video for the month, so I broke it up to abbreviate my thoughts in a more easily digestible way. I know half of y'all, though, ain't subscribed, so go ahead and do that. Like the video, leave a comment with what you think about the upcoming content and your plans as well. And if you want to see the whole video, I'll be providing a link to that as well. Check that out for sure. Thanks a million, and now let's get into what you're really here for, alright? Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 2. We have Iroha, the Phoenix Girl. She's got really gorgeous animations, and that's part of why I think she's getting hyped, but I'm here to deflate that parade a bit. Spoiler alert, I don't think she's too great. I think she's being overhyped for a lot of the wrong reasons, but let's talk about what she does first, and I can explain my thoughts why. It's kind of hard to put Iroha in a box because she does a whole bunch of different things, and she doesn't do all of them spectacularly well. She batteries, she heals, she's got okay-ish damage, she's got serviceable auras. I wouldn't even go that far, just her auras exist. She's all over the place, so I'll just break it down a little. Skill 1 is her bread and butter. It heals the party, batteries the party after damage dealt, and it's an attack with 50% splash. Gives Iroha one of her important buffs, being that she only, this is for herself, not for the party. I'll get to the party part later, but it makes it so that whenever Iroha deals HP damage, it expends only 80% of it. So think if she's doing when you do an HP damage attack, you use up your bravery. So you do 100 damage. Normally you go to 0 because you used up all 100, but with Iroha's buff, and this is just her skill 1 buff, when she does an HP attack, she will only use 80% of that brave, and she'll keep 20% of it. So like think of it like a brave coupon, brave discount. She's not using all the brave when she attacks, basically, and this allows for her to have a better floor for when she does HP attacks, and it's useful in certain contexts as an aura, but I'll go into that. The skill 1 buff is just for her. This is just me explaining the concept. And lastly, skill 1 transforms her skill 2 into the plus version, which is the only version you should use, and I'll talk about that right now. Skill 2 is her damage skill, and while she's got 2 versions of it, you should only be pressing the plus version, which is the fusion version. And the way you get this fusion version are using skill 1 beforehand or LD beforehand. So if you have the regular skill 2, you really shouldn't be pressing it. You should be pressing skill 1 or LD or something else. But it's just a split AoE HP, double HP attack. Just damage, nothing else really to talk about there. Once you use the plus version, it'll change back to the base version, which again, I've said it so many times, just don't use it. Her EX is the really pretty move, and where things start to get even more interesting. So it's a quadruple brave plus HP attack, single target, and splashes afterwards. And after the first use, this is where things get interesting. Her recast gauge doesn't actually go down, and her EX transforms into the plus version as well. So functionally, you're going to cast the EX twice in a row. Very strange. It's all single target, but it does have 20% splash at the end. And this plus version hits a little bit harder, and it refunds the party a bit more harder based on damage done. She also gets a 20% Embrave regen for herself based on this buff, so it's helping her keep her self-sufficient, I should say. And with her effect not dumping as much brave when she HP attacks, this will actually do deceptively more damage again. Now to round the rest of her kit out, we have her LD, a huge, enormous burst heal for 50% of the party's HP, and then it's a double AoE group brave plus HP attack. Batteries the party and gives her an overhead and transforms skill 2 into the plus version. Overhead is her claim to fame, and it gives the whole party the ability to also not expend all of their brave when they HP attack and expend only 80% of it. So the whole burn 100 but actually keep 20% of it, that's this again for the party. And this actually stacks with Iroha's skill 1. So if Iroha's effectively saving 40% of her brave, or she's expending 60% when she does attacks. And the numbers, I usually don't like to go into numbers, but the numbers are important here. It's a very small attack up and overflow up for the party, and 20% brave damage up for the party. So at this point, we've gone over all of Iroha's auras, which are, let's see, about 40% attack, 20% M brave, 20% stolen overflow, 20% brave damage up, and then the brave coupon thing. So that in total is less, it's not very competitive at all. You're not bringing Iroha for her buffs. If you say Iroha has good auras, I don't know what you're looking at, honestly. Like, these numbers are not good for making the party hit hard. She's mainly there in the party to heal, battery, and do the brave. I keep calling it different things. It's so inconsistent. I can't wait to see what they localize it because I need help explaining it. But now that I've given some context to her kit, this is how you use her. You open with LD, you get a free skill use after LD. I don't think I mentioned that yet. And so her C65 actually increases her recast. So you burn the free skill on the recast up, and then you, I think you skill 2, because it should be the plus version, after you've LD'd. And then your EX should be up after that. If not, then just press skill 1 as filler. And then you double tap the EX both times. And you just kind of go in a, I hate saying rotations in this game, but if skill 2 is in the plus version, press skill 1. Or if you want to just start spamming LD, or you want to get your EX up fast, you can use C65. There's a bunch of things you can do with Iroha, but you want the meat of her damage is from her EX back to back. That's really how you can really pump out the damage with her. It circles back around to what I said before, where she's in a weird spot where her party buffs aren't really anything to really pay attention to aside from the Brave discount thing. And she's got the solid double tap on her EX on consecutive, well, it's not consecutive turns, but she's gonna do her EX twice in a row, with the second version being more powerful. But her damage isn't super impressive there either, so I'm not quite sure what they were trying to go for with her, and personally I'm not terribly impressed by what it is. But let me save my thoughts for a bit, just a little bit more to talk about. Her base call is her skill 1, it's party heal, splash attack. It's decent. It's got a decent party aura and brave attack on top of it, and her skill 2 actually gives her LD effect as an aura, but it lasts 2 turns. This call effect is up, you will expend only 80% of your brave when you HP attack. Now, this is not a call worth pulling for, especially in a month where we're getting Kurasame. Kurasame's LD call released, and we have Jack, we have Gabranth, and we have other actually useful calls. This is niche at best and bait for people who like to theorycraft stuff but never actually do it in context. Do not pull for this call. It is a horrible idea and you will never use it, okay? And okay, let me not be extreme when I say that. You'll maybe use it if you really wanted to, but this is not even close to competing with Jack, Kurasame, Gabranth, the usual call cap damage souffle. Like just don't do it. Her high armor at base is encouragement, so 30% brave gain up, which is pretty much essential for her. Running Iroha without this armor, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You need this armor for Iroha. And the rest of it is a party split for HP damage. Now, I am not quite sure how effective or a smart a decision it would be to put this on her, because she doesn't hit terribly hard, and she doesn't have any HP damage modifiers for the party. So I don't know how you're going to be breaking those caps if Iroha's armor is blue, so use caution if you're gonna do this. It doesn't sound good to me on paper, but maybe I'm wrong. And the last thing inherent to her kit that I want to talk about here is her sphere. Her sphere batteries you. The person who has the sphere equipped, it is not the party, based on 10% of max brave. It is selfish. People are under the impression, and I guess I didn't make this clear in my encouragement armor video when I was talking about how the sphere interaction changes down the road. In practice, it's gonna be like 10k brave at most, maybe, if you're using Iroha's regular sphere. That's not even the RF. And it gets even worse once we get to Lufendia Plus and there's higher brave gain reductions and you're not supplementing it with a brave gain upper. So this is not a sphere to drool over either. It is mid at best. This isn't it either, guys. So it's been kind of bleeding over, but what do I think about Iroha? I think she's kind of just meh. Not very up on her, and it's totally not because I spent 600 tickets on her in JP and then barely used her anyways. She's got okay damage, but it's not competing with what Tifa, Noel, Golbez, Strago. So she's not a primary damage dealer, and she's not the best healer. Her auras are middling, not even middling. It's just worse than, like, because we just got Ash. I think Noel has a better attack aura than her. Although he doesn't have the brave damage up in the battery and it's not a direct comparison. But what I'm trying to say is that she's not fulfilling the support, the buffer role either, and she's just this weird gimmick character. And the gimmick isn't even that great because it really only shines with people who have multiple HP attacks. So think like Golbez, Tifa, Terra, maybe Strago. Who else has multiple HP attacks? I don't know, but the benefit from having her brave discount is not super, and you could just do other things like increase HP damage up, use a burst. That's not a fair comparison to compare to a burst, but what I'm trying to say here is I don't think she's really that impactful. Usable, sure, but in my experience with her in JP, every time I go okay, let me try and bring Iroha on this team, I had to ask myself why, because I could accomplish things perfectly fine and not feel like she contributed all that much. So she does have really ridiculously good synergy with Ashe, because with Ashe you can go back and you can ping pong Iroha's EX to where it's up pretty much all the time, and this definitely showcases her ability to pump out damage with her EX. But if you're not doing that, she's just kind of there, and that's a party slot you could potentially be doing something else in, and I'm really not up on her. I think she's massively being overrated just because she's got pretty animations and she's got a really interesting new effect that sounds really good on paper, but I don't think a lot of people are going to quite put it to use and practice and opting to run other stronger strategies instead. Yeah, and the sphere, I swear to God, if someone tells me Iroha has good auras, bro, I just not like Root again. It's not there. Her sphere is massively overrated. I've seen so many people go like, wait, it doesn't battery the party, it's an A sphere, dog. Those are always selfish. I can't even think quite like what Lufenia's Iroha could potentially be useful in, but that's not a good match because my memory is not very great in that regard, and I didn't do much looking into it anyway. So again, always take it with your grain of salt, but personally, I don't think she's very good. I think she's extremely overrated. Am I pulling? Hell no. Not after that 600 plus ticket fiasco in JP, only for me to end up not using her. I've used her call sparingly, and that's only because I wanted to screw around. But other than that, man, I just could never find a good use for her. I really don't think she's that good, bruh. And I got no interest in whatever's on her banner, no interest in Papa or Saz EX, no interest in Eldnar's Burst. This is a complete dud of a banner to me. It's just not it. It's just not it for me. I could totally live without her. Not much to say again in that front. Her only known rerun is down the line when Vayne gets an LD and burst. It's on Vayne's LD banner. So if you're pulling her Vayne's LD, you might get her as consolation there. If I do decide to pull Vayne down the line, I'd much rather potentially get her there rather than wasting my resources here and for someone I'm never going to use anyways. So yeah, that's what it is. The Lufenia is an interesting one. The orb is to have all of the party members above 15,000 brave after their turn ends, which Iroha can pretty easily satisfy because you're not expending all of your brave after HP attacking with her, and she batteries and refunds and stuff like that. So that's not, there's a couple units I can hit that, like Bart's BT or self-sufficient units that refund themselves, so like Cam, Golbez, Bart's, I can't think of all of them, but there's ways around that, or just battery off after the turn, so Galuf probably. Who else am I thinking of? Kryle. The only issue with some of those units is that this is a heavy melee resist fight, so if you're bringing someone who does melee, you gotta enchant them. Bart's obviously can handle that himself, but working around that can be a potential pain. Guy is actually a fantastic character here because of his post-turn M Brave regen. So Guy, Chad, stand up and clap because this is a great fight to use them in. Other than that, the whales actually aren't terribly deadly, but they do have phases where they get shields, and if you don't break them, you get blown up AoE. So break their shields, and they're like fat shields, like 200k I think, and you want to keep them broken. So Ferris is either in the party or as a call is actually good for that, because it'll set their brave down to 0, because you need to, if you don't break them, if you don't keep them broken constantly, and they're going to enrage, and that's when things get really nasty. So if you keep them broken, this fight's pretty smooth sailing, so nothing really to say on that front. Just be careful, later in the fight they frame their turns, and then it can get trickier to break them when you want to. And again, this is showing Iroha because she's got that really strong double tap EX, and it'll be able to cut down targets pretty well. That being said, I mentioned some earlier good units like Guy, Kryle, Enchanted Galuf. Strago obviously can pop their brave, just nuke them down. Ashe functioning alongside, what's it called? Iroha, how I forget her name. We're just enchanting anybody else is obviously good with turn manipulation as well. Trey to pop them. Yeah, a bunch of options here. Again, content's getting less restrictive again, so I'm curious to see what some Galaxy Brain strategies come up here. In JP, I ran this twice actually. So one run, the YouTube run, I ran Iroha, Guy, and Tifa, And then I did an offline run of Celes, Noel, and was it Iroha as well? I don't remember. I didn't record it. I wish I would have. So I'm going to try and Galaxy Brain a Noel run out of myself again. And because it's heavy melee resist, I'm going to bring Bartz for his skill 2. And I'm going to bring Kryl for the post-turn battery, because her EX effect for the team, and to also enchant the rest of Noel stuff and weakness damage up. It should be good because these guys don't HP attack really, so we shouldn't be seeing any attacks. Let's see if that works. I'm actually pretty excited for this fight, to be honest. And that's it. Hope you all enjoyed the clip and found it informative. I do try my best, generally. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, comment what you think and your plans, and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great content. The full video is linked, so check that out as well. Continue showing love. Good luck, everybody. Peace.